Hello and welcome to this presentation of Beesbusy. Here we are in the home page or welcome page of Beesbusy. You will access this page once you create your account. It is also always accessible by clicking on the logo in the top left corner. In the left part of this page, you will see three different options to create a project in Beesbusy. The first option is to choose a template. We offer you a selection of template projects from our catalog. The second option is to customize your project. It means that you will get some help for the first steps of project creation. The third option is to create without any help, so you can get started right away. Here on the right side, you will see a short video explaining what you can do with Beesbusy, and you will also see some links to access online help. The online help and resources are also available by clicking here on the question mark in the top right corner. This icon is accessible at any time within Beesbusy. For the purpose of this demonstration, I have created a new project that I have called a new logo. In this project, you can see that all my tasks are organized in task lists, like this. The task lists can represent anything you want, and here I have decided that they should represent the different steps of my project, from design to production to setup. You can organize your task list very easily by using drag and drop like this. You can also create a new task list by clicking on the plus sign here. Just add the name of your task list and then hit enter or click on the plus sign here. You can also reduce the size of a task list, which is very useful if you want to save space in your interface in the case that you have many task lists. Just click on the arrow to expand the task list again. You can also organize your tasks within the task list by clicking here. You can choose to order the tasks by name, by completion, by start date, by finish date, by label, or by member. To create a task, just enter the name of your task, like this, then hit enter on your keyboard or click on the plus sign. You can see that the task is added to the task list. You can move a task from one list to another, and you can organize your task within the task list. You can mark the task as completed by clicking on the check mark here, and the task will appear in the completed tasks panel here. To display more information about a task, just click on the task itself. You will see the task details panel. Here you will see the key elements for a good organization or a good project management. When you start, you can ask yourself three things: what, when, and who, that you can see in the different tabs here. What am I going to do? When am I going to do it? And who am I going to do it with? In the What tab, you can access more information about the task. Here, you can edit the name of the task. Here, you can see when the task was created and by whom. Here, you can adjust the progress of the task manually. It is possible if you're not using time management features, because in that case, the progress of the task will be updated automatically. You can also set the task as a priority, but I will get back to this later. You can also set the task as confidential. A confidential task is a task that can only be seen by members who have administrator rights for the project or by members who are assigned to the task. This is very useful if you want to share your project with people outside of your team, such as a client, for example, but you don't want them to see all of your tasks. That way you can just keep these tasks for your team only. Here in this section, you can add notes, you can add information, you can add comments by using the box here. Just type your text and then click on the arrow to add a comment. You can see here the comments that have been added. You can pin a comment to the top of the list. You can also edit or delete your own comments. You can attach documents here. You can attach files such as a PDF or a Word document or even an image. Now let's go to the When tab. Here you will see that you are able to schedule your task. You can add a start date or an end date or even both. In that case, the duration of the task will be automatically added. You can also schedule your task using hours or only days if you want. You can also use the little calendar here to schedule your task straight from it. You can set the task as a milestone, but I will come back to that later. Something that you can also add is a reminder. There are two types of reminders here. A reminder for all members, meaning a reminder for members assigned to the task. You can choose from the options here to set your reminder. You can also add a reminder for yourself only. You can access the same options here. This reminder is very useful if you want to keep track of what is happening in a task, even if you're not assigned to it. This is something very useful for project managers, for example. Now let's go to the Who tab. Here, you can add members to the task. Just click here and select from your list of members. You can even add a member directly from this field here. You can see here that the task is assigned to 3 members. You can remove a member by clicking here, and you can also add actions for this member. An action is a specific item that you want to add to the task or something specific that needs to be carried out for the completion of the task. So just add the name of the action here and then hit enter or click on the plus sign. In this section, you can also add a time log. So in Beesbusy, you can differentiate between the duration of the task and the workload. So the workload is the time is linked to the time management feature. So for this task, you can say, okay, the workload is 2 days. This is the initial workload or the anticipated workload for the task. Then Margaret can come to Beesbusy and update the achieved workload. Let's say she can add she has achieved 1 day of work, and so the system automatically updates the remaining workload to take that into account. But if Margaret says, okay, the remaining workload is not 1 day, it's 2, because I have a lot more work than expected, you can just enter 2 here, and then you will see that the system is automatically updated. It means that the initial workload or anticipated workload was of 2 days, but instead the total workload is 3 days. Let's move to the options on the side here. A key to a good organization, good project management is efficient communication. In Beesbusy, we have decided to rely on the decision of the users. It means that you can send notification on demand and you can customize a notification to ask for a specific question or to draw attention to something specific. You can select the members who will receive this buzz. So this is what a notification or an on-demand notification is called in Beesbusy, a buzz. So you can add the members here By default, all members assigned to the task are listed. You can always remove one if you want, or even add another one. Here you can add a personal note. So let's say I'm doing a demonstration, and then you can send the buzz. The users, the members, will receive this notification in their notification center, or even on their mobile if they are using the Beesbusy application on iOS or Android. And also they can receive an email if they have accepted the email notifications in their settings. In Beesbusy, you can also create actions, as I said before. Here, this is a way to access all actions for the whole task. You can see that we already have one action here. You can add an action by clicking in the field here, but you can also add actions by going to the What tab here, and then here adding the name of your actions. If you click on the lightning bolt here, every line in your text box will be converted to actions. You can see them here. You can decide if you want to assign a member to a specific action, and you can edit or delete the action here. And once an action is completed, just click on the check mark here. In Beesbusy, you can also create a meeting from a task. This feature works with the synchronization with Office 365. You can choose who you want to invite. They can be members who are on the project or on the task. They can also be other members from your team. And you can also, of course, add an email here. Let's just say, I'm going to add my email address. And then that way, if it's someone who doesn't have a Beesbusy account, they will still receive an invitation. I just sent the invitation, so you can see that the status is pending here. But once the members have answered the invitation, you will see the status update if it's accepted or refused here. You can add a description to your meeting, a location, and then here I can send the update because I have added a new member. Here you will access the labels. You can add labels to your tasks to help you organize your tasks within a project. You can see that I have customized 3 labels. You can customize your labels by clicking here and then changing the name, and you just click on the label to add it to your task. You can see that the labels are visible here on the side. Here you can see the time logs for the whole task. You can choose which type of time log you want to display, and you can see an overview in this part here. You can also set the task as a recurring task here. You can choose the frequency here, and then you can choose when to add the recurring task, after a certain number of occurrences or at a specific date. Then click here to create the recurrence. Alright, let's exit the task details panel. To do so, just click in the gray area here. I am back to the What tab of my project. I mentioned earlier something about priority tasks. So in Beesbusy, we try to add good practices to make sure that users are efficient when they organize their projects. So you cannot add more than 2 priority tasks within the same task list, because we want users to be able to decide what really is a priority. If you click on the arrow here, the task will be added to the top of the list. So I talked earlier about the buzz, which is a way for you to to draw the attention of someone on something specific. But there is also another way to be updated on what is happening in the project. you can see that here and here, those items are in a different colors. They took the color of the project because these are information that has been updated while I was away, or information that has been updated that I just haven't had the time to look at yet. So by clicking on this logo, it takes me directly to the information that has been updated. Just click here to exit. So we have seen here one view for the project, which is the what view. Let's move on now to the other views of the project. Let's start with the when view. So for each project you have 3 different views, and every single modification that you make in one view will be carried out to the other 2 views of the project. It allows you to see your project with a different angle. It's very useful depending on the type of project, or even depending on the person who is seeing the project. You will get a different display of the information. So here in the when view, you have access to a schedule of your project over time. This is also what we call a Gantt chart. You can see that your tasks are displayed over time, and there is a structure to your whole project. Here you can decide to move a task, to reschedule it, and you can also expand or reduce the duration of the task, like this. You can also add links from one task to another to help you create a structure for your project. It means that if you reschedule a task, it will have an impact on linked tasks. Let me show you like this. This will have pushed back these 2 tasks here, or I can just push it like this. You can also see that I have added a milestone here. The task has taken the shape of 2 arrows on the side. I talked earlier about the milestone task. So the milestone task is a deadline within your project. It's a task that cannot be moved if you move one of any other linked task. So let me show you. If I want to move this task here, I will see a limitation on the right side with the orange block here. This way I know that I cannot push further than the limitation because I have a milestone or a deadline that is blocking me. Something that you can see here is hatched lines. These lines will show when there's an overtime. It means when the workload is higher than the duration of the task. So if you want, you can adjust the duration of your task to match the workload. So I talked earlier about time logs. You can also add time logs into more details. So as you can see, my task is scheduled from the 16th to the 21st. I can now add a specific period for my workload. So let's do this here. I can see when the member is available, and I can choose if I want to plan by month, by week, or by day. So let's add something on the 17th, and I'm going to add 1 day of work. You can see here that it shows in my task with a color that's a little bit deeper here, and this way you will know when some workload has been added to the task. Okay, here you can see that the task that I have created earlier is added to the list, but this task is not yet scheduled. You can click directly in the schedule and then expand the duration if you want, and the task is added to your project. Click here to refresh, and you can see that it has taken place within your whole project. You can change the display order of your task by clicking here. You can see a chronological order, or you can see your project by task lists, which is very useful, especially if you have task lists that represent different steps of your project. You can see here the different steps from design to production to setup, and that way I can see how each step goes on and how it goes within the whole project. Click here to organize your tasks in custom order. You can choose to reorganize your task to have a customized display. So I'm going back to the chronological order like this. Now you can have different options here at the bottom of the page. You have access here to a small map which show you your whole project. You can just click on a task and it will take you to the time where the task is scheduled. You can also click on the arrows here to move within the schedule, or on the calendar here to select a specific date. You can also use the zoom here to change the display. Some interesting feature is the feature that is located here. You can see here that you have the start date and the end date of your project. So the start date of my first task is the 15th of December, and the end date of my last task is the 7th of January. If you want, you can change one of these dates. That way, your project will be completely rescheduled to take into account the new date. It's very useful if you want to reschedule a whole project, because your structure will be kept, will be saved, and you don't have to start all over again. You can also use this feature if you want. You can create your whole planning and see where the end date takes you. If the end date is not correct, you can change it and see when you have to start your project to respect your deadline. In this view, you can also access a time display by clicking here. There, you will see for each task list and each member the time log that have been added to the task. You can see it here, you can see the duration and then the different types of time. You can always make any modification you want straight from this display here. You can also export all of this data in Excel or in CSV files. Now let's go to the Who view of my project. The Who view is a way for you to see who is doing what and when. It is a team schedule. You can see the tasks are divided by member here and are displayed over time. You can, of course, move your tasks if you want. You can reschedule them, and as I said before, any modification you make here will be carried out to the other two views. If you want to move a task, you can see the impact on your planification, and also you can see if you have a milestone, you can see it still here. This is a good way for you to optimize your team schedule. In each view, you can use filters to display specific information. So you can display, you can add filters by member. You have a list of your members here. You can add a filter by smart tag. I will talk about that a little bit later. And you can filter by the task status here. And you can choose a label also. Now let's go to the settings of your project. Here you can see that you have different sections for your settings: project, display options, collaboration on project, and project calendar. By clicking on the arrow here, you can see this section. Here you can edit the name of your project if you want. You can switch from professional to personal. And also you can create custom fields. There are two types of custom fields. The first is the personal fields. So here I have created two personal fields, priority and category. These fields are only visible to you. It means that you can add information that will not be shared with other members. So with the priority, I have added information, and same for category. These fields that I have created will show up in all of my projects. You can also add additional fields visible to all members of the project. Here I have added two fields that allow me to add information to the project and to share that information with other members. Here you can archive or delete the project. Archiving the project means that you set it aside and it won't appear in your list of projects here. And deleting the project means that you will completely delete all data regarding this project. There's also another option available. It's to duplicate your project. This is very useful to combine with the archiving feature. You can always create a template project, and then you can archive your template to be used later. Once you need your template, just unarchive the template project, then duplicate it, and then you can work on the copy just like a separate project. Now I'm moving on to the display options. Here you can choose what information you display on the task. Could be the start date, end date, or duration. By clicking here in the planning views, so when and who, you will increase the display of, you will zoom in on working hours. So the hours that are not worked will be reduced, such as weekends, for example. Here you will increase the display of task status, so the color code will be a little bit more visible. Here you can only display tasks inside current display time period. It means that if some tasks are outside of this period, you will not see them on the side. Here you can display the project name and labels. The project name is located here, and the labels displayed here are the labels that you have customized, or the labels that are currently used on at least one task. You can also set a default duration for each new task. Could be 1 day, 1 hour, or no duration. Here you can set a color for your project. You have access to a number of colors that Beesbusy is providing you, but you can also add a customized color here. Just click here, select a color here, and you're good to go. Now let's go to the next section. This is the section about collaboration on project. Once you create a project in Beesbusy, it is only visible to you. For the project to be visible by other members, you need to share it. You can do so by clicking here and clicking on share. Here, you can select members to be added to the project. You can also decide if you want the member to be the creator to be assigned by default to the task. Here, you can select members, and you can also change their access rights. You have different access rights available in Beesbusy. No access means that the member will not be able to see the project and won't receive any notification regarding this project. This is very useful if you want to create your project and then give access later to the member. Read-only means that the member can comment and mark their task as completed or log in their time. But they cannot do anything else. The modification rights give access to modification of the project, and administrator rights are the highest rights. It means that the members can manage the access rights and can duplicate and archive the project. In Beesbusy, you can create different types of members. They can be real users with a real Beesbusy account, but you can also create virtual resources, or virtual members. For instance, here I have created a resource that's called company car and a resource that's called design agency or supplier. You can still assign them to a task, which is very useful for your planning needs, but they are not linked to a real Beesbusy account. This is also very useful combined to this feature here, replace. It means that, for instance, you can create a resource that's called, let's say, project manager. If you're not sure who the project manager will be, you can just assign the tasks to the project manager resource that you have created. And then later on, once the project manager is decided, replace all tasks from project manager to the name of the member who will take charge. You can also remove members from the project. In the project calendar here, you can set the working hours for the project. So the working hours of your project are taken into account when you're planning your project. So for instance, if you want to say that you are working on this project from Monday to Thursday, and you're off on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if you schedule a task for 5 days, starting on a Monday, it will go from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it will go back to the following Monday. So your task will start on the Monday and end on the following Monday because you have a 5 days duration. You can also resize your blocks if you want, and you can create, if you want, for example, to take into account that you have a lunch break, you can just create different blocks here. By default, as you can see, the working hours are from Monday to Friday from 9 till 5. You can also add an off day in your calendar, like a public holiday, for instance. You can choose the time zone here, because we know that sometimes you are working with international teams. And here you can synchronize the project with your Google Calendar or Outlook calendar. Okay, let's go back to my project in the What view. There's one more thing that could help you organize your tasks and your task lists. You can also, I said earlier that you can duplicate a project. You can also duplicate a task list like this. It will be added to your project, and you can also move one task list from one project to another by using drag and drop here and moving it to an existing project. Click here to rename or delete the task list. It is the same thing for a task. Just click on it and choose from the options here. So in Beesbusy, I said earlier that you could create professional and personal projects. So Beesbusy can be used to organize any type of activities or projects. Here I have my project for a new logo, but I can also create a project for my administrative tasks that needs to be done. I can also create, for instance, a recruitment process. I have each task here is the name of a candidate. In the task, I can add a comment and I can attach the resume for the candidate. And then once the candidate is okay to move forward to the next step of the process, you can just move the task from one list to another. And for instance, you can also manage personal projects such as a wedding, or you can even create your shopping list in Beesbusy. So to be able to organize several projects at a time, you need a multi-projects view. By clicking here, you see that I have 3 different views. Let's start with the schedule view. Here you have all your tasks over time and the link between tasks. You can use the filters to specify things that you want to see. For instance, here I have selected 2 projects, some members, and this is what I see here. You can always move a task from in the planning, and you will see the impact on your planning directly. You can also have access to a multi-project Gantt chart. Here you can see all your tasks and the links between them. And again, you can switch to a time display where you can see your 2 projects that are selected, the duration, and the different types of time. By clicking here, you will have access to more information about the task and the members. You can choose to see in days, in hours, or in days and hours. You can also export the data to Excel or to CSV. In the calendars view here, you have a display of the tasks of the project divided by member. This is very interesting if you want to optimize the planning for a specific member across different projects. If you click here, you can switch to a presentation mode. This presentation mode allows you to work with full screen, so you're still able to change anything in the display, and you can navigate between the different views here. This presentation mode is available in all different views of the application. Just click here to exit the presentation mode. So I said before that the online help is available, so you can find it here. Just click on it to display our resources and articles. Here you have access to our notification center. As you can see, you have a list of notifications. Here, this is the buzz that I have sent earlier. I can just click on it, see information about the customized note, and then I can see which task list and which task this buzz is regarding to. You can click here and it will directly take you to the task. You can also see some information about changes that have been made to the task. Here in the notification center, you can see that I have received different types of notification. You have information about invitations. You can also receive thank you. You can see that one of my colleagues has sent this notification to me to thank me for some work that I have done. And you can also receive some notification from Beesbusy, which are notifications to keep you informed about new features, for instance. So now let's move on to the dashboard. This dashboard allows you to have an overview of your tasks. We are here in the individual dashboard. You can see that these are tasks to which I am assigned. They are divided in different lists with a different indicator. So here, for instance, I have my priority tasks, my overdue tasks, etc., etc. But you can add a new indicator by clicking here and choosing from the list. By clicking on a task, it will take you to the task details panel, and you can also delete one indicator here, and you can move the indicators to customize your display. Here in the customized dashboard, I have created customized indicators. I can create one by clicking here, choosing one or more members, one or more projects, and a task status. For instance, if I click here, I have an indicator with the overdue tasks for Margaret. I have more information about the task, and if I want, I can click here to display the task details panel. click here to make changes to your indicator or delete it. Now let's go to the global dashboard. This is an overview of your project, like a portfolio management feature. You can also create indicators in this dashboard. I have created an indicator about marketing in which I have 2 projects, which are a marketing project and a new logo project. By clicking on a project, you see more information. You can see that here I have an overview for the whole project with the duration, the start and end date, the progress, the delay, etc., etc. And I have key colored indicators here. So these are my 3 task lists, and I can click on a task list to display more information about a specific task if I want to. So it means that you can get an overview of your projects, but you can also get into more details if you want. In some of our features in Beesbusy, we offer you a presentation video that you can access directly from our app. Just click on it to display more information on how to use this feature. So now we'll go to the members section. Here you have a list of all your members. A member can be different things. So they can be a member of your team, so a real person who is linked to a Beesbusy account. And they can also be virtual resources, as I have mentioned before. Just click here to display more information. When you create a member, you just have to add their name and email address. You can see them here. Here, this member has added their profile picture, and I have also added here a custom field, only visible to me, to which I can add more information. Here, for instance, I have a custom field called phone number, which is a field that will appear on every member in my list. And in there, I have added her phone number. I have also added this member to a list of smart tag, to a smart tag in particular, which is the London team. I will get back to the smart tags a little bit later. I can see here that the member has had some badges. So badges in Beesbusy is a feature that we have added to make things a little bit more fun and to give you some insight on how you're using the platform. When you use Beesbusy, as you go, you can earn more and more badges. These badges will allow you to see how well you're doing in the application and maybe help you understand the way you manage your projects. Once you have reached a high enough level, you will get an expert badge. An expert badge means that you will have access to features before they are officially released, and we might ask you for feedback a few times a year. There is no obligation, but this is a community that we want to create in Beesbusy. Here you can also see a calendar for the member, where you can see all their tasks by day. You can also see their availability here, which is a feature that uses time management. You can see the task here and how much workload is planned for each task. Here at the bottom, you can see the shared projects. It means that the projects that you have shared with this specific member. You can change the access rights here, or you can even remove the member from the project if you want. Let's go to the Invitations tab. When you create a member in Beesbusy, you can then decide to invite them. It means that once the member is invited, you can both share projects with each other. You can see here the different invitations received, sent, or rejected. Now let's go to the Smart Tags tab. The smart tags are useful if you want to create a group of members. A group of members can be defined by different criteria, such as the location or even their skills or their department, anything you want. Just click here to add the name of a new smart tag and then create. You can then select the members to include within the smart tag. Here, for instance, I have created a smart tag for the team located in London. I have added 3 members, and I can add more members here. You will be able to find the smart tags in the settings of in the Who tab of the Task Details panel. It will allow you to add more than one member at a time on a task, and same thing in the settings of a project. You can use the smart tag if you want to add a group of people directly to the project and not not members one by one. Now I want to show you our search feature. Here I am within my new logo project. I can use the search bar, but here I can just say I want to learn I want to search here. So I have nothing here. Let's say I want to add something about task. Here in my new logo project, I can use the search bar here to look for a specific term. It will take me to the results within the project. I can see that I have one task with this name. But if you want, you can also extend the search to the entire application. It means that it will go to every single project, task list, task, and even attached documents where the keyword that you have added is located. This feature is very useful. You can, for example, decide to have keywords for your attached documents, and by using the search feature, you can find all documents on a specific project or across project if you want. Now, if you go here, you have access to a menu with different options about your profile. Here, you have information about your profile, where you can see, you can change the information that you have here, your profile picture, your name. You can see your badges, as I mentioned before. You can see here that I have reached the expert level and I have more badges. You can also access your personal calendar, where you can see all your tasks and your availability here and occupancy. And if you go down, you can change your password here if you want. You can also change the language setting. So Beesbusy is available in English and in French. You can change the settings for the email that you receive, and by marketing campaigns here, we just mean emails by Beesbusy to inform you of new features. Here, this is how to receive the notification, if you agree to receive a notification by email or not. You can also set 2 different email addresses to be able to distinguish between your professional notification, so the notifications that are sent from professional projects, and the notifications that are sent from personal projects. So professional, here I have one address, and personal, I have a different address. In the white label section, you can customize your interface. Click here to change your logo in the top left corner. Here, for instance, I can go here, and you can see that the logo has been updated. If you want, you can change the link to your logo. You can add, for instance, your website, and you can change the header color. For instance, I can choose this color. Just click here to remove it. The next section is the default working hours for your projects. I talked about working hours earlier. This is where you can create the default working hours. It means that each time you create a new project, it will use the settings that you have here for the new project that is created. You can just update this in the same way that you can update the working hours within the project. You can also add an off day. Here is the invitation code section. This is where you add an invitation code if you have received one, or also in Beesbusy, if you have taken a subscription and you want to share that subscription, you want to give access to other users, you can create a custom code that these users will add in this section, and that will allow them to benefit from your subscription. So I think, so this is the presentation of Beesbusy in the web version. Don't forget that we also have a mobile application available on iOS and Android, where you will find most of our features, and it will allow you to update your projects on the go. So you can add comments, you can add tasks, you can update your time if you want. This is very useful if you're not always in your office. So just to download the application is free. Just go to the iOS or the Android App Store. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation, and we hope to see you soon on Beesbusy.